Day 13. Hello there, I'm Colonel Failure, and this is the Colonel's Journal for Day 13 of Eco. We've been pretty productive in the first 2 weeks in this new world. I've got houses built exactly the way I want them. I have a flourishing food business, and as you saw yesterday, I've been out and I've prepped my fields ready to hand over to the next bold individual who's going to take over the responsibilities of farming. Now, the completed works on the 2 buildings that I've got going on here led me to then tear down my original house, which was made rather heavily of logs, hewn logs at that, and the one place that served those, I mean, as you can see, that's a lot of logs that I've got left over. My stockpile's full. I've got logs kicking around all over the place. I mean, I can't move for logs. So my initial objective today is, well, let's just go and get shot of them. Several of you have pointed out that if I were to get myself a little cart, or even if I were to hijack a little cart, I could make this progress through town all the swifter, and therefore, spend my time talking about things that were slightly more interesting. But when it comes down to it, friends, well, basically, I'm either cooking or I'm building, or I'm buying the bits to do the building with. Anyway, Logland is where we're selling to, which ironically is the place we bought from. Hang on, they're not... yeah, why is it not buying? They don't want any more. Oh, I see. So not only did they sting me for a hell of a lot of money on the way out when I bought all these logs in the first place, but now they're paying a pittance for them in return, and they don't even want them. Well, that's just peachy. I have no idea what I'm going to do with these logs. I mean, I can't burn them. They're one of the few wood-based items that you can't set fire to, which is a shame because I'm somewhat proficient at setting fire to things. Anyway, yes, I'm not entirely sure what to get up to now, given that I've largely achieved everything that I set out to achieve, and it's just a matter of waiting. Let's go drop these back off again. No beating about the bush today. I've got a new recipe for you, and it's hot. You better believe it. So today we're going to be making charred sausages. Yes, this is like charred meat plus XL. So the first thing you're going to need to do is acquire some sausages there, and you're going to go to your meat merchant in order to procure those. And if you want my advice, and I'm sure you do, the advisable thing here is don't ask how we made them. Basically, it's lots of meat combined into a tube, which is lovely. Anyway, once you've got your sausages, bang them on your cooking device of choice. I suggest the campfire is a good way to go. And once you've done that, set fire to them. Give them a moment or two to sizzle. The longer the better if you want to avoid being poisoned. And then, bada bing, you've got sausages, and you are ready to rock and roll and make the money. The big news today, however, is that after several days of umming and ahhing about it, the time has finally come for me to get rid of my gathering skills. So I am farming no longer. I have now ceded, as it were, my entire fortune over to Tolokram and other new farmers, and instead I will be buying raw ingredients rather than growing them myself. As you could possibly make out in the chat there, farewell there, my trusted prophet comrade. Yeah, so I mean that's freed up the ability for me to procure completely advanced cooking skills to make something really quite amazing via the cutting edge cooking tree there. So I mean it's going to require quite a lot of investment, and not least of all, I'm going to need a special facility in which to cook, as cutting edge cooking involves a laboratory. So we've headed over to the library here, where we keep skill scrolls for just about anything you can imagine. And I mean, the reason that we offer those out freely to just about anybody is it also, every time you pick up a new skill, it grants you some new land with which to do things. So quite a lot of us have been abusing this system, picking up skills that we have no intention of actually learning, just in order to get the extra land deeds that come with that. But there we go, cutting edge cooking skill. It sounds so much more straightforward on paper, but you try reading that out loud repeatedly, and you'll cause yourself all manner of mischief. Anyway, molecular gastronomy is first on my to-do list there, which sounds incredibly highfalutin. I've no idea what I'm going to do with any of this stuff. I'm sure this will reveal itself to me in the fullness of time, and not least of all, that I'm going to be able to charge a king's ransom for whatever foodstuffs that I end up producing. Assuming that these are all foodstuffs, of course. Cooking could be linked to a chemist-based biological something or other that maybe is needed. I mean, we've got the CO2 canister, and I know that liquid nitrogen is available as well. And I'm certain that a laser capable of shooting down a meteor is sure to need some liquid nitrogen as part of its cooling systems, or some such. I don't know. Anyway, I'm very optimistic to be making this new stuff, and I'm very optimistic with regard to the amount of money that I'm going to be able to make off the back end of it. To say that I am rubbing my palms together in a very eager fashion would possibly be an understatement. But we'll get to that in due course. To be honest, for those of you following along with the Colonel's Cookery School, we've still got some way to go before we reach the tutorials on the cutting edge side of things, as you are yet to progress beyond the simply setting things on fire stage of your education. But the important thing to note here is that in order to actually cook all of this stuff, I'm going to need a laboratory. And a laboratory is a very high-end piece of kit. It needs electricity, not a lot of which I'm seeing at the moment. And a laboratory also needs, it's very fussy with regard to the materials the building is made out of, that it sits in. Yes, it's actually, it requires what are known in the trade as Tier 4 materials, or is it Tier 3 materials? It's Tier something materials is what it needs, and it needs quite a lot of them in order to function. And that means that once again I'm looking to be building, and that's going to involve me doing a bit of research into where I'm actually going to find the necessary odds and ends to do so. I see that we've got combustion engines and wind turbines on sale here, so we're clearly coming up on the stage where electricity is going to be viable, and that'll be exciting. Not least of all, we might be able to see what's going on in the dark. But anyway, I've got a notion insofar as where I'm going to put my laboratory, and it's in what will become known as Building 3. Building 3 is the final piece of the three graces of Fail Island, we're going to need to, yes, Tier 3 materials, not Tier 4. I don't know what Tier 4 materials are. Probably like, space plexiglass, or I don't know, space bricks. Sure, why not? Anyway, here's the first two graces, the tallest of which will be the tallest of the three, but is actually pretty much unoccupied. I've still got this mountain of logs to get rid of, but I think I'll probably end up giving those away, or at least trying to sell them in bulk to someone who needs them. But I'm going to dig out the basement here to be the foundation for the last building, and I'm planning to go below water level, because in the fullness of time, this will actually become a mine as well. I've decided that late game I'll start working on some real low-level mining kind of deal, and maybe work on my brickwork of my own in some fashion, ironically, after I no longer really need it. Anyway, that'll do it for today. I'll catch up with you tomorrow with a little more of the same. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Like this one if you enjoyed it. And I'll catch up with you soon. Cheerio!